Museveni caving in after denying initially that they were in Uganda and under Ugandan custody. And what the state of human rights in East Africa is. We'll thread all of that with Senator Maanzo, who is also their lawyer, like I mentioned earlier. Karibu sana, Senator. It's good to have you in studio. Yes. Before anything else, let's have the quote of the day shared by Jano. She'll share it with you, say what it speaks to you, if you resonate with it or not.
Absolutely. Yeah. The quote is by Muthoni Likimani, who's obviously an activist and writer and many other titles, and a pioneer in many ways. And she once said, "Silence is not virtue when it protects wrongdoing." Silence is not virtue when it protects wrongdoing. What comes to mind when you hear that quote?
There's a different way it's put, that you cannot stay in goodness, or you cannot pretend things are right when they are really wrong. And a lot of times people like to stay in sin so that things look good. I don't know a better way to put it. You see, ordinarily what happens is people know something is wrong, but nobody wants to talk about it. You want to be very synthetic as opposed to be organic. You know, when you're organic, you say this is what it is. Things are this bad. But when you want to pretend, it will not take long before it is realized that there is trouble. I
feel like you're talking about the region. We are posturing that everything is fine. And in fact, just as we get into the conversation, let's run this clip when President Yoweri Museveni was very, very casually talking about the fact that, oh yeah, we had them in our custody, these two activists, and we released them because they were, what were they? Operators of chaos. Yes. Philo will tell us whether that is ready. We can run that clip and then come right into the conversation, finding out more about Bob Jagi and Nicholas Oyo. Let's run that clip and come back and react to it with the Senator of Makueni.
Leaders rang me and said that I should hand them back I should either put them in jail here or hand them back. So we are going to, but you could see we are monitoring all of them. They all have connections with foreign countries, foreign groups funding them. What two Kenyans whom we arrested, they came, they were working with the Chagulanyi's group, that they are experts in riots. Of course, with our very good intelligence system, we picked them up. And they have been in the fridge for some days. They've been trying to do it for a long time. So we pick them, and then after some time they will release them. It's no problem at all.
Being in the fridge for some days. That's a very chilling, no pun intended, statement to make. Senator, I think before we get into the conversation, I know that we've seen the two have been released. We saw them being picked up at the airport. How are they doing? How are Bob Jagi and Nicholas Oyo doing right now?
Well, when they arrived at the airport, they sounded strong, but they said they wanted to seek urgent medical attention because for 14 days or so, Jagi particularly had not taken a meal. And they say the reason they didn't want to take a meal is that the meal wasn't that good. So he felt it was better to do without it. And they needed that medical attention. Psychologically, they were very depressed. We had been in communication since the time they were released. And as soon as Bob switched on his phone, we were able to talk. And earlier on, you remember Bob Jagi had been kidnapped in Kenya earlier on. And when Masageli was getting into serious trouble, and he actually didn't know where they were, although he was the active police boss. And we had gone to court and sought habeas corpus that produced these people, whether dead or alive. And the day now, we were going to commit the person legally should be responsible or should know to jail for that night. They were found, 3 of them. They'd been missing for quite some time, and this was from Kitengela. Later on, Jackie was charged that, out of some of the riots, Jackie had been charged that he was carrying a part of a gun, the one which contains the bullets. The truth of the matter is he was just a good citizen. After police ran away from the crowd, one dropped the gun, and this thing which contains the bullets fell there. And as a good citizen, he picked it and handed it over to the police, only to get arrested and get charged. And the DCI will tell you they have a very good case about that on a citizen. So the way I know Jaggi and his team, the wrong perception had also been given to President Museveni. They're not that extreme. And they only stand for human rights. There is a perceived position that we have integrated as East Africans. But the more we pretend to be integrating, the more things are so serious. Uganda is one of the very friendly countries to Kenya, and we do a lot of trade. It is our biggest trading partners. And we have a lot of friends in Uganda. Even through parliament. There are interparliamentary sports which are even going to happen in Uganda in December. And when we do the national prayer breakfast, each year the Kenyan delegation goes to Uganda and the Ugandan delegation comes here. And I know the chair there of National Prayer Breakfast, Honorable Bahati, her minister is very close to President Museveni. So what happened is on 8th of October, 1 week after the arrest, I actually went to Uganda on 7th. And the next day, managed to get an invitation to State House to attend the National Prayer Breakfast. And as soon as I arrived, I shared with Honorable Bahati, we've got our 2 gentlemen here, any information about them. And the president knew very well about their matter from beginning. So the next day, there was a National Prayer Breakfast, and the theme was forgiveness, reconciliation, and restoration. In fact, the word restoration was added by President Museveni himself. Okay. And when he came over, as usual, he gave a lot of history. And he takes special time to talk to the Kenyan team. In fact, one time he had invited us for lunch, and he even takes a photo with us. So we were with Osoro and the whole of that prayer breakfast team, and everybody was really lobbying for this case. And we got an indication.
October 8th.
October 8th. So October 9th was Independence Day, and quite another Kenyan delegation arrived with the Deputy President. It also shared the same sentiment, but diplomatically, letters had been written, which are obvious. You see, the Minister of Foreign Affairs writes to counterpart, Minister of Foreign Affairs. And there's another gentleman who was very key, the Deputy Speaker of Uganda, who is also part of this prayer team. So he took us for dinner, and we asked him about this matter. We know he's very close to the president. That evening before now the independence, and also Honorable Bahati was there, and they said, no. This one, we'll get it sorted. So by that time, because they talk every day with the President Museveni, the message had gone. All the Kenyan teams here are working for this, but not only this. Members, the parliamentary diplomacy, which was very effective, because we were one-on-one with the president. And I remember in his talk to us, he really believed in reconciliation. In fact, he gave us his history and realized that he's not the sort of person many people think he is. The struggle, what caused the struggle? First of all, they come and fight, and then when they went to sharing power, they get almost nothing, so they go back to fight. And then when they fight, they form government. And one of the things he did not do to a lot of his enemies, he didn't revenge. And he said the 9,000 guns And they say the time to surrender, his people advised, let's hide some guns. Just you don't know what. He said, no, let's surrender all the guns in good faith.
So he said it's not in his nature.
Yeah, he told us it is not in his nature to be trickery or it doesn't trick people. And he was telling us as leaders, don't trick people, put everything on the table, and then forgive, then reconcile, and then restore. So the moment he spoke like that, and we had made a request, we knew that was going to happen.
But that was a month ago.
That was now on 8th of October.
Yeah.
Yes.
So after a week or so, end of October passed, we kept on talking to our contacts. Now some rumors came, through social media, that in fact these people are dead. And in fact, I remember after I came from Uganda, I attended a meeting at Uhuru Park, and I was very confident because I dealt very closely, and I've been told they're going to come home. And I announced publicly when Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka was launching he's also been following this matter very closely with the Honorable Rigathi. When announced publicly, these people are coming home because they are part of our team and they work with us. And then, so I was very confident. Then a month passed. Then rumors came, social media as usual, with their photographs, and these two are dead. Museveni, just give us the bodies. So it got me worried, and I went back to Uganda. This time I didn't find Bahati, the deputy speaker, because they were on the campaign trail with the president. But I met a very important man called Kakoza, Honorable Kakoza, who was in the bush with Museveni, and also who was an exile in Kenya. So he lived here in the early 80s, and he said Kenyans treated them very well when they were exiles here, when the country was in trouble. And he assured me, no, give me 2 minutes. He made a phone call. He said, no, your boys are alive. So that gave me a lot of hope. And because the matter had also gone to court. And when it went to court, you see, in that application of habeas corpus there, the reply of government was like, we are sorry.
We don't have these
We have no details of these people whatsoever. We are not aware, this is in court, because we don't have their declaration at the border. Every time you are crossing the border, whether East African or where, there's a form, especially East Africa, there's a form you fill. You are going to this country, what are you going to do? How long are you going to be? Which hotel will you stay? They said these people didn't give these details at the border.
So they didn't have information.
So as far as government is concerned now, the prosecutors, we have no information absolutely.
Where did President Kenyatta come into all this?
As the lobby went on, because the international community was lobbying, Law Society was part of this. We are part of Law Society with Irungo, of Amnesty International. So with all this lobby, and President Kenyatta is a very good friend of Honorable Museveni, and Honorable His Excellency Museveni, President Museveni, they had good relationship. So this information also got to Uhuru Kenyatta through these lobby teams, and the information I got is that he made a phone call, and the next day the guys were free. As soon as Uhuru Kenyatta's phone call landed, they were immediately handed over to the ambassador.
Didn't that make you worried about the process all along, that it took, first of all, the fact that it happened, and you've said they were not even that extreme. Then it's been a month of back and forth, and it takes a call. It still doesn't put faith in the institutions, because what would have happened if that call wasn't made? You know what I mean?
Trust me, I don't think they will have come back home. Because when we were in Uganda, the Independence Day, I knew we put a lot of pressure on Honorable Kidiki, who is a lawyer, the Deputy President, in his meeting with the President to do. But you see, diplomatically, it doesn't work like that. How countries communicate diplomatically, it is either president to president, out of your relationship, or through the foreign ministers.
Foreign affairs to foreign affairs.
Foreign affairs to foreign affairs, I can assure you, I can see them ambassador to ambassador. And actually, we are against our ambassador. There is a good man, Maangi, he's also a lawyer. And every time even this time around when I went to Uganda, I met Maangi. he didn't seem to have more information than I had through my direct connections with people very close to President Museveni.
Right.
So I realized the diplomatic channel
was not
could just be lies somewhere. And most probably, if Uhuru Kenyatta didn't intervene out of personal friendship and respect, trust me, this would have dragged on. Because in court, we were frozen.
Yeah.
And in fact, Kakoza jokingly told me they're in a basement somewhere. And they're okay. And he assured me, give me just a few days. When I meet the president, you know, we have memories. And Kenya and Uganda really have helped each other over a long time. Unfortunately, I think things have been exaggerated. I want to assure President Museveni these guys are not as bad as he had been told they are.
Let me hold on that. Senator, I have so much to thread on. Let me begin with, wow, President Museveni said that they arrested, you know, yeah, these fellas, we had arrested them and we'd kept them in a fridge.
Yes.
But they denied having knowledge of them being in the country, of having them in police custody or military custody in court, yes. It's a lie. It's a blatant lie from Ugandan authorities saying that we don't have these people in custody, these people are not within, to the best of our knowledge, we don't have them, right? And then the president says, you know what, yeah, these people, we had them in a fridge. Clearly, as the conversations were going on, yeah, you guys knew what was happening there and you were trying to lobby. Is it not incredibly worrying that President Museveni can come and say, yeah, those two guys, we had them. We arrested them when we had them in a fridge.
I'll tell you,
outside the law.
Which is why it says caved in.
Yeah, I'll tell you what happens when you go to court.
Also, when when you're assuring President Museveni that these guys are not so dangerous, it sounds like you're appeasing him, but go on.
No, I don't want to really appease him. You can see he has been given wrong information, and we are integrating as East Africa, and we really want to integrate. You know, in the future, even beyond the current regimes. I think the idea of Eastern African integration is great. What ordinarily happens, I was personally surprised by the denial of the prosecutor in court and the paperwork he put in court. It means then, of course, they were not under the regular police. This has been admitted that they were picked by the military or the intelligence. And therefore, if there's no, just like in the Kenyan situation, if there's no communication from the intelligence or military, the Inspector General of Police wouldn't know of your whereabouts. It's just like the Kenyan abductions, which we dealt with. And I want to believe that when the Inspector General, well, there could be some pretense there must be a lot of pretense, because I would not expect an Inspector General who is in charge of security not to know what the intelligence is doing or what the military is doing or any other special forces in a country for security purposes. And I think what Bob Jaggi and all the other activists do is nothing dangerous. It's nothing which turns to be lethal unless provoked. In fact, for all the killings which have happened, and I've always advised the government, if you let people demonstrate, after 1 hour the demonstrations will be over. They will have sent their message and they will go home. But the moment you come and you want to disperse people who are not armed, who are not planning to injure anybody, it's the moment you just fire the first shot. And it has happened in a crowd I was. The senator for Kiambu, Thangwa, gets arrested in Kiambu. And then all of a sudden, we are sent to Nyeri, to the DCI headquarters there. So we go to Nyeri, and the law allows you. And I want to tell Kenyans, really, if you have nothing to tell the police, or you don't want to write a statement, you cannot be forced. If because you are free to give information, which you are warned can be used against you in a court of law when the police are being professional. And therefore, your statement can easily be, I have nothing to say. So when the Thangwa told the police in Nyeri, I have nothing to say.
That's where
we were now sent back again to DCI headquarters, where we had come from. And we decided now to go to Nyeri town, and the people blocked our way. And therefore, we decided to address the people. And everything was very peaceful. But all of a sudden, Senator Medho rang up Rigathi Gachagua and put him on phone. And he was addressing the people, and it was a very nice conversation. Then all of a sudden, the police come.
Yeah.
And the crowd was bigger than the police. So they fire a shot, a real live bullet. And the people go, what are you doing?
So chaos ensues.
So chaos ensues.
Yeah.
And in fact, the police are in more trouble with the public because they were ill prepared. So whoever gave instruction gave very, and it was totally unnecessary chaos.
It's a consistent.
It's
a familiar tale.
It's a modus operandi.
Of how
so we are saying, the police listen to us.
Okay.
All Kenyans mean well. Nobody wants to damage any property.
Yeah. We're going
All
into a
Kenyans
short break just now.
want meaningful change.
Yeah.
Right.
You wanted to ask something?
No, there's so many questions.
I wonder if in a minute you can answer something, because we do have to go into a break. I don't know if you'll be able to.
Yes, sir.
I'm just curious why you chose to represent this case and what message you think it sends.
This is not the first time I'm representing activists.
Okay.
I started it during the KANU days. There was something called release political prisoners.
What message does it send when a sitting senator? Because I think you're also trying to send a message about protecting human rights activists. Is that part of the reason why
I'm part of the human rights movement in this country. And I've been in it for many years. I was introduced to it as soon as I became a lawyer, 1998, when I was doing my privilege with a lawyer called Firos Noroji. That's why I met Orengo and Kiraitu Murungi. And they were fighting to bring change in the country. In fact, we were preparing the election petition of Mwai Kibaki versus Moi, which didn't work after the 1997 election. We lost in court. But through that, in fact, I was never going to get into politics. I was just going to be a normal lawyer. But through the mentorship of Orengo, that's how I got into this. And I've been in it for so many years. So every time, and even the Law Society, I'm one of the volunteer lawyers who fight for human rights, because we are in a lot of these cases for human rights. Remember, I had 4 people from Makueni kidnapped. 2 have never, I have buried 2. 2 have never been seen. You remember the Mlolongo form?
Yes.
Up to today.
Let's take a break. I think when Mariam had said we also need to talk about the state of human rights. It's good to have that context, because it's obviously something that's really important. And yet we're seeing human rights violations and activists being compromised every day in the region. But let's come back after this break. It's coming up to 8:30. We'll continue the conversation with Senator Dan Manzo in just a minute.
What's up, nation? I am the Kikombe, your second favorite storyteller, and I believe that if we focus on $1 billion, we will fix the nation. So how much is $1 billion? So if you stack 1,000 Kenyan shillings notes on top of each other like this, and you get to the top of Times Tower, you will only have stacked 1 billion shillings. Focus. So when you see 1 billion missing, it's not. Focus on 1 billion, because kuku hajichinji donge.
Kuku hajichinji
donge. By the way, Kikombe is an injector through and through. Even on weekends, even on some of my posts, he always has like the most liked comment,
right?
Because he breaks things down. He'll have a whole paragraph. So yes,
thanks Kikombe for that Was Up Nation video. He's been doing this amazing series threading what 1 billion shillings could do, what 1 billion shillings also looks like. He'll tell you 1 billion shillings could fund could give capitation to this many students. 1 billion shillings, if you laid down 1,000 notes and you stacked them on top of the other, to reach 1 billion, you'd have to get to the top of Times Tower. Just so when you hear 1 billion shillings is missing, you start to have some scale of how much money that is. Thank you, Kikombe, for sending us that video. 0112 500 400 is the number to dial when you want to send us yours. I repeat, 0112 500 400. That's the number to dial. You could, for example, say, my name is Senator Daniel Manzo, and my bit in fixing the nation is 1, ensuring that Kenyans are adequately represented in the Senate and the people of Makueni as well, and also fighting for human rights defenders in Kenya and across the world, because clearly the fight is not just within our borders. Senator, will you send us our WhatsApp Nation video like that one?
I'm a compare script, Senator.
Yeah.
You will?
No,
okay.
I'll do something like that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We're just getting back into conversation with Senator Manzo. We've been discussing what happened to Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo, what led to their freedom, what was happening behind the tent, you know, the conversations that were going on.
Yeah.
January had asked him something just before the break.
I think I'd asked him why his investment in this case.
Oh, yeah,
but even before we get there, Mariam and I reacted to this clip. I don't know, I was seeing it today.
Yes.
Of what Cherage said. Let's just run the clip, Senator Manzo, and then come back and talk about how this also puts such a dent on human rights in the region. But let's have a listen and then come back and react to it.
I want to ask President Museveni and President Samia Suluhu Hassan, if you get any busybodies activists who want to destabilize the sovereignty and the peace and tranquility of your country, finya hawa, warudishe nyumbani, tuwamalizie.
So yeah, warudi tuwamalizie.
That's a sitting senator.
That's a sitting senator. And we were saying, I think NCIC and EACC shouldn't be slow to react to this. So maybe just your reactions on that, Senator Manzo, and what you think the...
First, I'm very disappointed by Senator Cheragai, who is a lawyer by training, and who also comes from the ruling party, UDA, and the ruling coalition, Kenya Kwanza, and to an extent, the so-called broad-based government. Now, this is what has messed up the country. In fact, the country has been messed up by such politicians because that leaves, you know, you must think twice before you address the public. The chances are high, and he speaks for the ruling coalition. He's speaking for the broad-based government. That is the government we have. It means that, and he's asking, you know, presidents of East Africa to behave like that. It is the most unfortunate and the most careless talk. And I'm in the Committee of National Cohesion in Parliament, and we have really tasked, you know, the Commission of National Cohesion to deal with carelessness like this. This is totally illegal. If anything, he should be prosecuted for this incitement. You know, you have Kenyans very innocently doing business in Uganda, and Uganda is a very good nation. If you interact with wananchi just in town, just walk in town and interact with somebody selling their wares, in fact, you will bump into so many Kenyans who do business in Uganda. Very quiet people. They go there, they get beans, they get maize, they get things, they get kitenges, come make a living here in Kenya. And Uganda is our biggest trading partners. When we were in Uganda, I was telling Kenya, can you imagine all these vehicles and the motorbikes we see in town? They have come through Mombasa Road, from Mombasa. I mean, you can imagine what it means for the normal citizens who do business, because the two governments, we have a very good diplomatic relationship with Uganda, and President Museveni is a senior statesman in the region. Now we have a lot of Kenyans in Tanzania who have been branded that look, you are in our country. In fact, report to the nearest police station. Then you get there, you get arrested, you are being, you know, followed up. There are very many innocent. I've had interviews from the media. People who are just working for international organizations in Tanzania, and also people who have international businesses which moved out of Kenya when cost of living became very high, cost of electricity, and these businesses moved to Tanzania, being a better environment for investment. Now they have hired Kenyans. Now those Kenyans, their businesses have been closed down. They are in custody. I know Kenyans even who have Tanzanian number plates. If you check, some have escaped and driven across the border. You'll see quite a number of TZ number plates here, driven by Kenyans who've been working there. So to talk that careless, really, we should look at, we should never miss the theme of regional integration. I think Charagai has missed it completely. I will challenge him on the floor of the House. He must withdraw this nonsense. And I'm just cautioning those who are supporting the government. Please don't push Kenyans beyond what they can be. There's been a lot of carelessness in government. When the body of Raila went to the stadium upon arrival in Kenya, there was no need to kill Kenyans. The same Charagai said CS Senator Murkomen was running around like a headless chicken for failure to plan. Really, there are better ways of dealing with Kenyans.
Yeah.
So they even contradict themselves. You want to come back and ask about human rights? I want to invite Mariam, I just want to read some feedback really quickly. I don't know if we'll get to it again. Yeah. Isn't what Bob and Nicholas did attending Bobby Wine's campaign similar to Kindiki attending Suluhu's swearing in? Why were they abducted if Kindiki wasn't? The Kikombe says, in all these human rights violations in the EAC, where does the East African Parliament come in? So you can take a note of that, Senator. We'll see if we can come to that. The cost of democracy is eternal vigilance, and kudos to Senator Manzo for doing your bit in fighting for this space. Yeah, so that's just some feedback, just in case we can't get to it. But Mariam.
Yeah, no, there's Charlton Tungu said the only time Cherargei makes sense is when he's silent.
Oh, I've just seen.
Lots of comments coming in, but I wanted to ask how many players were involved in this? Because let me tell you from where I sit what it looks like. They were abducted by Ugandan military, They were held incommunicado. The state decided to deny their existence when, there was habeas corpus applications in their courts. But the security apparatus know. And the Kenyans that were making noise online and in person, obviously that had reached Ugandan authorities, up, down. It's not even a matter of whether President Museveni knew for a fact. Knew where they were, and he has admitted that they did indeed abduct them. You're saying you had conversations with whether it is the deputy speaker, and you were a number of people from that, from the Ugandan side, and change was, they were saying, you know what, we'll get them, we're working, we're doing this, so small pushes, but nothing seemed to happen because there was then a month-long silence. Yes. Then you're saying former President Kenyatta made a call.
For the president.
Sorry?
For the president of the republic.
For the president of the Republic of Kenya. Fourth president of the Republic of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, made a phone call, and the next day Bob and Nicholas are free. I'll ask the obvious question, why didn't President Ruto make the call?
He was following the diplomatic channels. He had assigned that duty to Musalia Mudavadi, and for so many days there was no results.
So why didn't he make the call?
Yeah.
The Prime Cabinet Secretary.
Again, we have videos of President Ruto, Raila, and President Museveni at the farm. I remember that when they went to... So it's not that they don't have a personal relationship.
Yeah, they do have a personal relationship. And you can see President Ruto must be in the same view or state of mind as Cherargei in terms of these troubled Kenyans. And I really want to ask the government to change that idea. Not only the government of Kenya, but the governments in East Africa. You should see how President Kibaki dealt with activism. When President Kibaki came to power, a lot of these activists had fought for that change. And as soon as things were working in the country, they seem to have been idle a little bit. But the Kenya National Human Rights Commission was set up, and the original Human Rights Commission remained. And remember him working with people like Gidongo very closely. He brought these people with the ideas to government to make government better. So activists are not criminals. Activism is just stating the way the Constitution You know, first of all, there's a UN Charter. There are African agreements on human rights, like the Banjul Charter. We have, you know, human rights are natural for anybody. So anybody who feels, and I like the speech by the fourth president of Botswana, Kama, yesterday in Makueni, Lukenya University, where he said, if you have an opponent, just go to the people and win their opponent. It's not a fight. You don't have to force yourself to the people that you must win an election. It doesn't matter how many people die. Or it doesn't matter whatever method you use, including stuffing boxes or stealing an election. Really, you are not a choice of God. If you have stolen an election. And he was a little bit, not happy with the situation in Tanzania, which is part of SADC, their own situation. Right. The chairman of those countries, Madagascar, has run away from his people. He's in exile. He's not happy with what Suluhu does. And he says, as a Botswana citizen, he does not recognize, and also as a former president in that country, meaning that could be the view in Botswana, he does not recognize the presidency of Suluhu. What does that tell you about the relationships in SADC now? Right. So these things are very heavy. At the moment a country reconciles, and the moment you have a reconciling tone, not the one of Jaragai, and if these are the people advising President Ruto, I'm sorry, we have a long way to go. And therefore, the first person who should have released Bob Njagi, no matter how many cases he has here, no matter how many mandamanos he has participated. And by the way, mandamanos are usually peaceful till the police disrupt them. And the police does not want to disrupt mandamano. It is somebody who gives an order. We have seen mandamanos during times of President Kibaki, and they never became this nasty. No people died. No single Kenyan should have died of any mandamano, including the situation which should have been handled at Kasarani. You know, you just needed to play music and keep on announcing, Kenyans, let's get into order. Please queue so that, we can view the body of our leader. But there was no such language. When you start tear gas, bullets, people dead, I mean, what are you doing? You are suppressing the people using the gun. And everybody there had a capacity to talk to these people. I wish Murkomen, who has a very good tongue at times, was just given the mic. If not so, they just look for one of the leaders from Nyanza to address these people. You saw Otiende, Senior Counsel Otiende Omolo, dealt with the Kisumu situation very well. Showed leadership, talked, they listened to him. We had no one dead in Kisumu Stadium, but there were more people than Kasarani. So this carelessness.
Kajwang as well and Babu Owino at Parliament.
Yeah, Babu Owino and Kajwang. We saw Babu Owino climbed and talked to his people and told them, look, his story may be liquor, the body is going to Kasarani. Can we go to Kasarani? You saw also Senator Sifuna. That is how to deal with the people. But when you start with a gun, then everything is going to be destroyed. So the violence is begun by governments. I didn't want
let me ask the question here, which is when you see what's happening within East Africa, and when we see that following the correct diplomatic channels yields no fruit, also following international conventions, international law, best practice, whatever it is, it's just not happening. How do we move from there? Because like you said, it was an informal phone call from a former president that led to the release of Bob Njagi and Nicolas Oyo. Again, we've seen JB Muturi talk of his son being held in Communicado as well, and President Ruto makes a call to Nurdin Haji, and suddenly he's free. This is after denials of his existence. So clearly, we are at the mercy of, do I know someone powerful enough to make a phone call for me?
And I want to say that those who were not as influential as Muturi have suffered a lot. There are many, many parents in Kenya who don't know where their children are today. And when you kill a child who is the hope of the family, who has just been educated through university, just started working, that is the hope of that family. The moment you kill their son, you completely change the trajectory of the livelihood of that family in future. People are very important and very useful. And I want to say that on Friday we launched, I was at the launch of Muturi's book. And I think Kenyans should read this book. In fact, I bought a book. Somebody came and said, the books are finished. Grabbed my book. Told me, you know Muturi, I don't know how to reach him.
Another copy.
Get another copy. I got another copy. I was very lucky to get another last copy.
Yeah.
Then it was again grabbed from me. Yeah. Somebody said, now, how can you know how to get Muturi? I don't know how to. I've come for this launch. Yeah. He did not even invite me, but I love what you guys are doing. There is one chapter dedicated on that story of the disappearance. And as an Attorney General of the nation, he sits in the Security Council. Yeah. So you cannot sit with all these people. They have abducted your son, and they are not telling you. I think that is the dishonesty of the highest order. And if human rights are to be obeyed, whatever a Kenyan has done, an abduction or killing is the most unfair thing one can do. The solution to this for East Africa is fairly simple. Kenyans, and I'm really wondering what has happened to our youth. Please, when you are 18 years old, you know some of them don't have the history of this country. They are only picky bits of it from the struggles of Raila Odinga. Please, when you get 18, register as a Kenyan. Then go and register as a voter. It is open now. Make just a little sacrifice and register as a voter. Right now, it is happening at the constituency headquarters. There are a few mobiles registrations, especially in where communities shift. When they open it up, go and register as a voter. In fact, I am expecting the way young people were organizing themselves for demonstrations, the way they were fearless, the way they were tribeless, the way they stand for this nation. Because I want young people to come to parliament and remove these sycophants like Cherargei, who wants to go and run for governor. I now no longer believe he should become a governor.
Did you? I wouldn't say if you believed before or not.
After this talk, I don't think it should happen. So I'm telling the young people, you are the solution. Register as voters. Let's mobilize ourselves. We used to mobilize ourselves during the Mandamanos. Come out in large numbers, or overwhelm IBC. Register as voters. When it comes to 2027, vote overwhelmingly, like a Mandamano again, and send this government home. Let's have a sensible government in place. That, if Kenya becomes has a sensible government, this is going to affect our neighbors in a big way. We will change the diplomatic skills.
Right.
I am very sure President Ruto is also a very close friend of President Museveni. There's a time there was a lot of support between the two, especially with the elections. Ugandans actually, for a long time, really liked President Ruto. And therefore, he was he must be the first one, as the President of the Republic of Kenya, to send Jagi and Oyo home to make a request. Yes. He's the first one, because the President is the first diplomat of the nation. And I can assure you...
The topmost diplomat.
Topmost diplomat. And I can assure you, and I really want to assure all these governments of East Africa, please understand the young people. You have totally misunderstood them. The Bob Jaggies of this world want good governance. And I can assure you, President Museveni is managing. You know, there is a Kamba tale of a man when they went to the Chai and the Uju place. He'll tell the other man how he beats his wife. So when he gets to his home, he tells his wife to bring some skin, hide skin there. And he hits it and he tells her, now, pretend you are shouting and beating you. When you go to Uganda, you see, I was in Uganda, and we're going there for sports, for East Africa, all of East Africa. One, right now, it's very peaceful in Uganda. If you see how they deal with riots, it's very different. The police in Uganda escort demonstrators nicely. Wait, a lot of times, I've seen it. They on television and there, they escort them there isn't that killing as you see here. And right now, Bobi Wine is campaigning freely in Uganda. President Museveni has huge crowds. Bobi Wine has been left to move around Uganda. But I saw his posters.
But it's always very short-lived, Senator.
Yes, it can be short-lived. But I'm saying, how people are thinking it is happening in Uganda, it's not what is happening.
Oh, I see.
You're saying
how other countries...
I understand what you're saying. Okay. Museveni does enough for the neighbors to think that he's beating the wife. But when
you go to Uganda,
I think there's some serious
his vehicles are around. You can see his campaign team.
There's a lot of human rights violations.
We're not saying there are no human rights violations. But I'm saying the situation is not what people imagine. Because Bobi Wine is moving around.
He's moving around for
and
now.
Rani is campaigning. Of course, it happened different for BCJ.
Not really.
It has appeared. I am saying we have human rights situation. And I can assure you the governments can sort it out.
Because even BCJ is not safe. Also, that metaphor of the beating wife is triggering. Let's not use gender-based violence references.
I'm just saying.
I know. Quick one. A bit of revisionism.
I said it was a tale story. Yes. It's a story told.
It's okay.
It's not the truth.
It's
a tale story.
Now that we're reading
a traditional tale story. That the message in that is don't do what other people tell you, or what you think your neighbors are doing. Do it right yourself.
S. Okale Makanda says a bit of revisionism by Senator Manzo. Githongo was fired for raising issues in the government of Kenya. Kibaki attacked media houses and dismantled media equipment. His wife beat up journalists. So basically, it's never been perfect, but I think you were talking about the scale of what we're seeing now. We are almost at time. What happens next for Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo? What happens to their case? What do we expect to hear in the next few days or weeks?
What does justice look like?
For them? In the course of things, this is what would have happened. As soon as their presence was spotted in Uganda, and if the allegations that they did not declare they are going to Uganda at the border is anything to go by, they should have just been gotten the day they were seen there, doing something which the government didn't like, and immediately returned to the country. There's a term used for that. You can arrive into a country and immediately send back. They should have been deported with immediate effect to the safety of Kenyan soil. Of course, they have got court cases running here. They have got constitutional applications. Bob Njagi's constitutional application is still pending in Kenya. As I told you, there is some misconceived criminal case against him. And if you interact with Bobi Njagi one-on-one, you don't get the person painted by the government. He's somebody who wants better governance.
Because of time, Senator, because we're at where we are right now, which is none of that happened, no due process was followed. It was essentially an abduction being held in Communicado. How do we seek justice for them, given that... But the president of Uganda has admitted that,
there's something called jurisdiction. There's an international jurisdiction, and there's a local jurisdiction. There was a complaint in Parliament, in the Senate of Pastor Jenga slapping somebody who was asleep in Acacia. But Murkomen came and said there was no complaint. So Bob Njagi can decide, and Oyo, we are not lodging any complaint to anybody anywhere internationally. And because they've been handed over to Kenya, now they belong to Kenyan jurisdiction. You see, you see there's jurisdiction. So if the wrongs happened in Uganda, so if you are to seek,
we cannot prosecute or seek redress.
You can only seek redress in the courts there.
What about an international system?
But that depends on whether that particular individual is an East African Court of Justice, but it is whether that individual wants to lodge a complaint.
To the best of your knowledge right now, do they want to lodge a complaint?
No, I haven't heard. They said they will address the press today. They needed just to settle down
and get medical checks.
Have medical attention, see whether something has... They will tell us the story themselves. But I want to say, it's always good to look look at things positively. We cannot all be negative. I want really to say, out of all that effort made from young people, social media, international organizations, lobby groups, parliamentary diplomacy, the national breakfast teams, President Uhuru Kenyatta, whatever the government of Kenya did, I'm sure those letters never reached President Museveni. Whatever happens diplomatically, or probably was never briefed through the diplomatic channels. Right. Whatever happens for whoever did whatever little thing, I really want, on behalf of Bob and Oyo, thank Kenyans and thank God for their life, and also thank President Museveni for sending them back home. We in Kenyans, we have abductees in Kenya who we have never seen. Yes. Can they be released from whatever they are?
Things being worse here doesn't make it okay that President Museveni first of all abducted them. So I don't know. I'm hesitant.
When they landed, their parents and Kenyans were happy that they came back home.
We are incredibly happy. Yeah. We're just not going to thank the same person, the same administration that abducted them for then freeing them.
But we are saying
we're incredibly happy that they're back home. Yes. Yeah. We have to wrap up the conversation now with Senator Daniel Manzo. We're talking about Bob Njagi, Nicholas Oyo, our Dan. See Daniel? Ni Dan.
People prefer Dan, but any is okay.
Any is okay. All right. So we've been talking about Bob Njagi, Nicholas Oyo, the abduction. They are, incommunicado for over 40 days actually, and what led to their release. Hashtag is Fixing the Nation NTV. When we come back, we take the conversation to youth and politics now with Bilkista Aduma, the new face of politics. It's young, it's refreshing. Is it going to make change? We'll be right back after this.